Pretty dark morning. The moments of a new day. We rise early. Remember what's important. Make our way to the Dharma Hall. See friends on the way in. Nods of good morning. Maybe a hug. It's St. Patrick's Day. Oh my goodness, I have no green. Alas, well, that's the way it is. A reading from St. John O'Donohue. Oh, there, I guess I've got my Irish on with John O'Donohue. This is a little prose piece about solitude. Solitude is the sense... Oh, I forgot something. Dun, 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 dun. There we are.
Recording in progress.
Solitude is the sense of space as nourishing. What usually happens with solitude is that people equate it with loneliness, which frightens them. But I don't know anyone who has a good friendship or love relationship in which there are not significant periods of solitude. There is a way in which we treat our relationships almost like a colonial expedition. We want to colonize the space, all the territory in between, until there is no wilderness left. Most couples who have deadened in each other's presence have colonized their space this way. They have domesticated each other beyond recognition. Sometimes you see a beautiful woman who quickens your heart. Then you meet her again years later and she has become a domesticated relic of who she once was, and you think, where is the dangerous vision that I saw in him or her? The same happens to men. I think it's more interesting to be with somebody who has his or her wilderness territory, who has their wilderness territory. And by that I don't mean bleak, burned out, damaged areas where wounding has occurred. Rather, I mean genuine wilderness. Upon seeing that in the other person, you promise yourself, one thing I will never try to do is to domesticate their wilderness. Because the authenticity of their difference and the purity of their danger and the depth of their affection are all secretly nourished by that wilderness. As all of my spirit is being nourished by my own wilderness. There is a great tradition in the U.S., even more so than in other countries, of the solitary person going out into the wild. It's a shame that this model is now being revived for your journey into the inner wilderness. So here we are, right on the edge of the wilderness, going to a place that no one has ever gone before, inside. There is a map, an elegant map from the Buddha, but it is wilderness because we have no idea what will happen in the next 35 minutes. We have no idea what will happen today. We may have our plans. I have a plan. But what will occur? We just don't know. So let's start somewhere familiar, right here, at the landing pad or at the dock. Right, I'm in my familiar meditation spot. Let us become rocks, conscious rocks. For the next little while, abandoning all movement, anything that will keep us attached outside. Cast off all lines fore and aft. And then there's this mystery of in-breathing and out-breathing. And each breath has its beginning. We can remember all the usual things. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. And I take refuge in the Sangha. When a ship heads out to sea, all the usual landmarks fade out and become tiny and then disappear. Same is true for us as we head inward into the great mystery of experience. Let's take with us our compass and that device for sighting on the stars. Where am I? Coming home to in-breathing and out-breathing. Mindful of this utterly mysterious livingness. And each breath has a beginning. So does each sound, each thought. This could be a moment of great ease and calm, or of turmoil. A moment of easy contentment. Nothing to search after, seek. Or a moment of desire, or wanting, or disliking. Somehow the present moment is worthy of resistance. Mindfulness is that which knows these polarities. And it comes with equanimity that can accept this is how this moment actually is. Right like this. Grounded in in-breathing and out-breathing. drinking deeply of the solitude of the inner journey. Resting in the knowledge of Sangha and community, of the millions who have walked this way before. It's interesting the way the lights go out in a way, the stars disappear. We fall into one trance or another, the trance of the past or the future, the trance with the common refrain, I, me, mine, mine, mine. How will I deal with this circumstance? What do I think about this? This is mine. What about my family, my child, my... So normal. It's the kind of weather we live in. But there is this uncharted wildness of awakening where quite unprovokedly, in the midst of one of these trances, there's knowing, oh, right, this is the wandering mind. It's this familiar pattern. And now there's knowing it. Now there's knowing the contact of the body with the chair. Of the hands with each other, perhaps. How intimately can awareness embrace the actual sensations of this breath right now? the practice of mindfulness is so different from everything else we do, really. It's not about getting somewhere. It's about being here. And what do we have when we are here? We have seeing and hearing and sitting. We have scent and taste, perhaps. There are thoughts. There are body sensations. There's the past in the form of memories in the present. There's the future in the form of fantasies in the present. If the mind is restless, one way to calm it is to add richness to the meditation object, if one can think of it that way. We could use noting to note rising, rising, falling, falling, wandering, wandering. In some traditions they count, breathing in 1, breathing out 2, up to 10, and then start over. If you get lost, simply start at 1. When the mind wanders, one notes wandering, wandering. Or we could add to the in-breath calm body. So there's the intention of calming the body. On the out-breath, calm a mind. Calm body. Calm mind. And let the mysterious aliveness of the entire body come to the foreground. Calm body, calm mind. this moment is exactly as it is. Pleasant, unpleasant. Somewhere in between. Tranquil, calm, concentrated, or restless, or somewhere in between. I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. What a relief. I intend to accept the experience of this moment exactly as it is. Traveling through realms that are familiar and unfamiliar. Observing as the traditional structures and forms and beliefs and ideas fall away. Observing as the burdensome practices of liking and disliking fall away. And of course, we will encounter discomfort, loss, suffering of many kinds. We may encounter the layers of injured self-esteem and various layers of trauma. Beliefs which we incurred in childhood and even infancy gradually come to light. We discover that they are empty of any enduring reality. And so we hold ourselves in sweet compassion. We hold each other in sweet compassion. In fact, we encounter the dilemma of being a human being and hold all of us in sweet compassion. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. May our families and friends, babies that are being born and people that are dying, may all beings share in the merits of our practice. And noticing what is required to allow, to encourage, to will the eyes to open. And let seeing occur. Observe seeing occurring. More accurately. Hello, friends. Cast off all lines fore and aft. At 21, I signed on to a ship at the Baltic Sea in Montreal Harbor. The moment came when they cast off all lines. My mother and sister and my dog, whom I was never to see again, my dog Pokey, were on the dock, and they pushed the ship out. Tugs pushed us out into the middle of the St. Lawrence River and then nudged us around till the bow was pointing toward the ocean. And the city got smaller and smaller and smaller till it vanished. Turned out I was on my way to Bodh Gaya, but it took 5 years to get there. I have finally made a decision, and this is a very grainy picture that I took a long time ago. This is Anagarika Munindra. Standing on the roof of the Burmese Vihara in Bodh Gaya when I was 28 or so. I had gone there because years before he had said, no, it wasn't then, it was earlier, but anyway, doesn't matter. He had said he wanted to gather a small band of boys and girls to train them in insight meditation and concentration. And I heeded the call, and I went, and I spent some weeks there till he got terrible pneumonia and I got kidney stones. But standing on the roof of the Burmese Vihara in the night, there was noise coming from weddings in the distance. 3 different loud musical phenomena happening. And he looked at me and said, Robert, are those sounds inside or outside? So starting on the book about him is called Living This Life Fully. And starting on where is it here? March the 30th, the week after next, I'm doing an 8-session over 3 months reading and meditation group to really encourage participants to go deeply into their meditation. And the book, Myrna, the woman who wrote it, did a great job. Each chapter focuses on one of the Buddhist principles, like mindfulness or concentration, generosity, virtuous conduct, and so on. And then it talks about how Munindra lived it. And it's really beautiful. It's beautifully written, and so I invite you to participate in that. It hasn't been advertised yet at all. This is the first. This is its unveiling. I sent it to Molly last night to create the place on the website to make it happen. Now let me get back to this. Here we go. I want to change this to this. Okay. Good. There's some more. Oh, and one thing, there's a suggested amount to pay for this. And PIMC certainly needs your support, and participating in things like this is very helpful. But please hear me. Please watch my lips. Never, ever let financial challenges stand between you and anything happening at PIMC or with me. If I had my way, all the retreats would be free. Brighton Bush would be free. But there's no way I can do that. But at PIMC, if you want to do a class and there's a suggested donation, if you have a lot, then give more. But if you don't, never, ever let financial issues be a hindrance about coming. It would be obscene if that were the case. These are the Buddha's teachings. These are the Buddha's teachings. Well, they're the best I can do regarding the Buddha's teachings. So I have a few more things I want to mention. I actually made a list. Saturday, March the 26th from 9 to 2, there's the Karma Yoga Day, a chance to come to the center and play together. Clean the place up. You can get on the list of volunteers on the website. April the 3rd will be our grand opening. Did I say the wrong date? Yeah, March 26th. Good. Sunday, the 3rd of April. Come and we'll have a celebration of sorts. On May the 29th to June the 3rd, I'll be teaching in Hollyhock in Canada. I believe there's still room in that. The Be Queer Now group happens on Sunday nights, 6:30, and it seems to be a going concern. Candle teaches on Sunday nights, the 1st and 3rd Sundays. Oh, and the 2nd of April, getting this straight here. Yeah, April 2nd, Candle is offering a retreat from 9 to 2. So, Jim, you want to say, are you still here? You want to say something about your upcoming?
Yes, I'll be online on this Saturday, from 9 to 1, and we'll be just rediscovering the mindful movement practice, and some poets will be visiting, and we'll have plenty of time to just sit. That's the 19th of March. It's coming. It's St. Patty's Day today. Huh. In Chicago, it was always a competition. St. Patty's Day on the 17th, we wore green, and on the 19th, we wore red to placate our Italian brothers and sisters. It was St. Joseph's Day, and the Italian churches would celebrate St. Joseph's Day. You know. Competition in everything. Crazy. I didn't realize my Qigong was falling on St. Joseph's Day. Anyway, it'll be a very rich opportunity to sit still and then get up and move, and sit still and get up and move. Join me if you can.
And I would like to say, if you can't attend the course live, it will be recorded and you can time shift it. Not ideal. It also will be live, hopefully, at PIMC and on Zoom. That's a bit of a juggling act, but we'll pull it off. So, how is the world with you?
Good morning, Sangha. Good morning, Robert. It's
Hello,
David.
David.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Robert, I have a question about the practice, and that we often close the practice here with, may I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment, which is a useful observation. But I wonder sometimes the practice, it seems sometimes to ask of us not to strive, and yet the practice involves striving. So to sit down, to adopt a posture, to go into an approach to breathing or working with thoughts, to say calm body, calm mind, is in some ways it is to be with the moment, but it's also to be with the moment in a different way. But that involves intention and sometimes effort. So I'm wondering if you could talk to how to reconcile or balance this notion of having intention um, with how
Hmm.
things can be, and also accepting with how things are, and how to move between those two. I'm not sure if that's a clear question or not, but I'm curious because it seems to come up in my practice sometimes. So thank you.
There's a little story about Ajahn Chah I think it's in A Clear Forest Pool, which is a lovely book that Jack Cornfield wrote. A young monk, an old monk, a person, approached Ajahn Chah and said, "You know, I was just overhearing you talking to that other person. And you told them exactly the opposite of what you told me yesterday." And Ajahn Chah said, interestingly, "You know, I've been going back and forth on this path for so long that sometimes I see someone falling off to the left and I say, 'Go right.' And I see someone falling off to the right and I have to say, 'Go left.' So there is a paradox. And I was actually, it's funny you picked it up today because I was actually aware of it myself. Here I am saying, just be present, just make no effort. And then there's, well, if you want to develop more concentration, you could do this. So, I just had another memory of Munindraji. I was walking on a little road. This is probably a highway now, west of Bodh Gaya. Bodh Gaya, when I first went there, was a dusty little town. I mean, really dusty little town. I went out with Munindra one morning looking for milk. He would buy the milk from the townspeople. And he carried a hygrometer with him, a little thing that he floated in the milk to see how much water they had added. But that was, a quarter mile from the Mahabodhi temple. There were cows. Anyway, enough of that. I said, I was desperate to get enlightened. I was hurting so much. I wanted to get the brass ring or the gold ring. I wanted to get free. And I told him, I suffer so much with all this wanting. And what about this desire for waking up? Which leads us to a lot of effort, right? And he said, the desire for awakening is like a thorn, and it's painful. But it's the thorn that you use to take out all the other thorns, and then you drop it. And so the Theravadan model has a lot to learn in it. The 4 foundations of mindfulness is this vast study. And one can work and apparently seemingly develop more concentration. One can create the conditions where there's more emerging of mindfulness, and so on. And those do take intention, which is a bit of a tension, and creates something. There then comes, when things come into some greater balance, then it's the practice becomes choiceless awareness. You're not working with the primary object anymore. You're just sitting there, being there with whatever arises. And it sounds oppositional, but it actually is merely paradoxical. I said,
that's helpful. Thank you. Yeah.
Matt Flickstein puts it really well. It was simpler than this, but there's no self to make any choices. And every single decision needs to be made as though your life depended on it. That's the paradox, isn't it?
Hi, Robert. It's Dave.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
David's question just fell right into stuff that I've been working with, and you have always long history of you saying this is not about fixing yourself. This is not about changing yourself. This is not about correcting, and of course, that's why I started meditating, because I was in such pain that, of course, I wanted to take care of that. And I'd be sitting here saying, screw you, Robert, I'm here trying to fix myself. And
Me too.
And what has really developed for me is to take the attitude of that it's about bearing witness. And I remind myself of that when I'm in there trying to grub around and trying to fix things out. Bear witness. It's all about attending to what's here. And as I attend to what's here, things kind of crystallize. Like if there's a mind sky of depression or anxiety, then I attend to that. And as I just simply bear witness to it, things kind of settle out. Like behind it, there's an energy informed by years of experience about who Dave is in relation to the world. And so then I attend to that, and little notions pop up of small and inadequate and weak and being overwhelmed by larger forces. And then I just bear witness to that. And then even the word Dave, there's a story that is wrapped up. There's a flavor and a sensation and a smell around Dave that has these eminences of all of this. And just bearing witness to it, there starts to become an awareness of this larger, don't know a word for it, but larger being that contains all of that, and just simply bearing witness to that. And if I start to, I hate that, I drop in, this is my body loving me. All of these things that have informed Dave, this is my body loving me. And that's how I think take your love and accept myself exactly as I am. It's this was here to protect me, and welcome it and embrace it. And that allows me to stay oriented as I'm bearing witness. It's just been really interesting. And I've been wanting to mention it. And David, you just, gave me the impetus, but the whole idea of bearing witness as a way to, there's not a word for it, but it just allows me to deepen an understanding what the whole identification is that's going on in here. And also an appreciation of what an incredibly powerful biomechanical suit we're occupying. The impressive nervous forces, the heart pounding, the blood going through in response to all of these things, and just sitting and bearing witness to it. And it's kind of, holy crap, what a those exoskeletons in the cartoon, in the comic books that you take on, and you're just this big mighty beast going out to fight the world. And there's this Dave up here in this incredible machine. But bearing witness has really helped me orient and learn, I guess. So I just stop with that, and thank you.
I'm going to say something to you that Matt Flickstein says to me with quite a lot of frequency. Who is this that's bearing witness? Is it really someone, or is it just awareness?
I'm really working on that. Not working. I'm really witnessing.
Exactly.
I'm really trying to witness that. Trying.
Well, there's a simple practice one we can do with this, which is who? Who is this? Who is it that has this idea of bearing witness? Who?
I know it's not Dave.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I mean, you just articulated the dilemma. You know my story about Ruth Dennison and cultivating a witness, I think. I mean, you've probably heard it 10 times. Early on in my teaching career, 10 years, 15 years in, I sent a tape to Ruth Dennison. I gave a talk I was particularly proud of, and so I sent her this tape. And early on, before the last 10 years of her life or so, the last 5 years even more, she never called me. I mean, it was really me pursuing Ruth and going to retreats and going to visit her. And just had a thought, boy, I wish I could do that now. But anyway, she called me, and there were very few niceties in the conversation. She said, "Darling, I just listened to your tape, and you're telling people to cultivate a witness. Don't do that. That's not Buddhism. That's Gurdjieff. There is no witness. People are going to have a hard enough time softening their identification with a self without you creating a fantasy of some witness. It's mindfulness that knows." So it was like, do better next time, Robert. But the notion that we're creating a witness is creating another fantasied self. There is observing, there is perhaps witnessing, but it may sound like splitting hairs, but I found it and find it even more now. Creating a subtle self. We've got so much subtle self happening all the time. So.
And Robert, your comment, with people's indulgence, it just sparked one more thing that happened to me yesterday. Because I was sitting there and this vestigial feeling of homesickness or deep loss or something came up. And that immediately took me into thoughts about loss and what could have been. And something inside here said, wait, there was no other possible alternative for what happened back then. Every choice that has been made was the only choice that could have been made, because if it were to be any other way, I or someone else would have had to have been different in some way. And just that recognition, not predestination, but just the fact that the person I was at that point who made that choice was the person I was who made that choice, and there was no other alternative because that's who I was. It was defining suddenly all of those ideas or thoughts or feelings about possibilities lost, what could have happened, disappeared. Mm-hmm. And it's like I did a cut and paste of me here now, and this is all that could have been. It was incredibly orienting and centering, and so I've been sitting with that a lot too, to just say, no, this is all that could have been. Now what? What's here? It was really centering.
Great.
But thank you.
Thank you. It's a shocking realization as it becomes true. The past is over. It really is. It's gone. I mean, how interesting that it takes a realization of that. The past is done.
Good morning, Robert Beatty.
Why, it's Jamie Flanagan. Hi.
I had a what's here. So regarding your sort of very pointed, don't not do things because you can't afford them. No, really, comment. Feelings come up of like, but then I don't deserve it, but it's just yucky feelings of not being able to contribute or not having, I guess I need more convincing, maybe that's, which is silly, but it's like, what do you do about the yucky feelings one gets when one does accept a request like that or an invitation like that? Does that make sense?
Sure. Who is it that has the yucky feelings? They're just yucky feelings. And they come from conditioning and beliefs and quickly, wheels are spinning, smoke is coming out.
I think a lot of it is should. What's
should.
feeling,
Right.
it feels should. Like
Right.
It shouldn't, I should be able to do this. My life should be a different way such that this wasn't necessary.
Right.
Da, 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 da.
Right. Well, how about this? We overspent on the remodel by about $120,000. We had it in the bank from a gift. It was like our endowment from Ruth Dennison. So I would like you, Jamie, you should fill in that deficit. Would you please do it today? Because somebody should. Or, oh, here I am, and there you are, in your incredibly generous being you, and having lots of money is not your karmic reality right now. So what? So what? You have your other gifts. This is the greatest gift we can give to the world. The fact that we are taking responsibility for our consciousness and for our actions, therefore. And so as a pattern in consciousness that's not personal. And it will. Well, as the light happens early-ish, is there's that thought, oh no, I'm having that thought, I shouldn't be having that thought, or I should. And so the mind goes into mental proliferation around. I always recommend this. Before offering Dana, sit to the center, for instance. I'm offering a thing in the Bible about the woman who gave the few pennies, forget. How are we doing right now?
There's a lot.
So what to do? And intentionally run those. Observe what they are. Old neurotic thoughts come up, they get noticed, and then beautiful thing. 150 years ago, in the year 2000, I think, you cannot be a member of PIMC. And you can contribute mightily. You can contribute of your time and energy and money. Religious, spiritual organizations that demand you to belong. Now, Dana, which overlaps with this, is the turn the volume up. Right now, Well, that was not very articulate, Robert. And right.
Or I
And
should.
so clearly. And who are you? Who are you, Robert, to be next to Matt Flickstein? So what? For this moment of neurotic concern about it. So just it drops a millimeter a year or something. It slowly diminishes.
Typically say I'm feeling nervous or I feel inadequate or whatever. Last week, someone led in the Be Queer Now group, they led the meditation, and they started out saying, "I'm really nervous to do this." And then they killed it. They just did amazing. And it was like one of the most lovely, and I actually thanked her for starting with being nervous and sharing that, because it just was very humanizing, and it leaves a lot more room for the rest of us to be okay with feeling nervous or inadequate. So thank you for sharing that.
It's funny how we project on teachers. Not funny, it's kind of awful.
Funny, peculiar.
Funny, peculiar. Very nice, Rob. How we doing for time? I get to go to Wink's Hardware this morning. There's a hardware here in Portland that has the most arcane, unusual hardware stuff. I mean, if you're missing a part, you go in there and there's this genius. He's the son of the guy who founded Wink's. And there's special mounting brackets behind. There's this gargoyle sort of creature that's going over the front door, the entrance to the Dharma Hall. And I've got to go and get those special things this morning. It's kind of fun. On the theme from before, there's a wordless sense now that, well, you better either be totally silent, Robert, or say something really brilliant and wise now to pull this one out of the fire. It doesn't matter.
Also, the idea that it's in the fire is probably only happening in that seat. It doesn't feel like it's in the fire to me.
Right, but that's what happens in this seat, and again, so what?
On that note, and in honor of today, St. Patrick's Day, I will share an Irish saying, "How would I know what I think until I say it?"
That's the extrovert. Yeah. I had a really marvelous teaching from Matt Flickstein some years ago. Something happened in my life that was very upsetting and public, and it was really a big deal for me. And I was on retreat with him, and I shared it with him. And we talked about it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then we went on. And then 2 months later, I had a phone call with him. And I brought it up again. And he said, "Why are you talking about that again?" And I said, "Well, it was a big deal." And he said, "Oh, are you intent on creating an identity out of that event? It's over." And it hit me like it was one of those shocking moments that And I was doing that with everybody, with anybody who'd listen. I'd tell them about my traumatic event and he just and that has come up so many times that I start to go back into something that it's really done. But I'm a person who did this, and or should have done that, and God, it's just hard to get that lesson through that the past is over.
Hi, Robert, and everybody.
It's Eileen. Hello.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off stay off the video.
Okay. Are you in your pajamas?
I'm always in my pajamas. Okay, I'm just going, but I did wash my face. I'm going to the video. What's the difference, right? Here we go. If I can get it started.
But you're in your pajamas.
Here I probably don't even look that
you
different.
are in your pajamas.
I'm always in my pajamas.
You're always in your pajamas. That's
every
amazing.
day. But I do try to change the robe. I keep thinking it's this blue robe.
You have 2 robes?
I have 3.
Holy shit.
So I'm really like, in that one way, I'm so old fashioned. I have all these nightgowns and stuff. I know that's just like antiquated. It's the only time I really feel old, but, and I don't have a washing machine. I live in an apartment building. So really great to have those because, it costs a lot of money every time you.
Right.
Anyway, that was not why I called, so to speak. When you were talking about teaching and hearing that, did I do it right, etc. I realized that I was very fortunate to have something that never happened. I've never seen it again. I worked at a school in LA. It was an inner city school, as we called it. The best staff of teachers, most of us were under 30. Some others weren't. They were all great in the English department. And what we did, because they let us be, we would switch children around based on who would do best in our class or with somebody else. So, and we were all, especially the teachers who had their, if you wanted to rate us, we were all excellent teachers, but we were also ourselves and had our own styles and personalities, etc. And so we'd say, I remember this so specifically, he will do much better with you, Lee, because you can overwhelm him, Eileen. And I would say that, and she would do better because she needs that energy and all of that. And I think it gave me the knowledge and confidence, not on individual level, but as far as that really that idea of the right teacher for the right person is whomever that fit is for. And it doesn't have anything to do with who's, how good you are or how much you're imbuing in people. And then the other thing that I got to experience there that unfortunately makes me anxious with all we hear now with racial stuff, but most of my students were Black, most of the parents were Black and guardians. What I learned really early is, especially people of color, they have a radar. They're not listening to your words. They're looking at you, they're hearing you, and it's not even conscious. It didn't matter really the words I used. Obviously, I wasn't going to be saying ugly things, but they read you and they could read who was a racist and they could read who wasn't. And at that time, perhaps it was somebody, but you had whole classes. So it was the same thing. And when Black kids would say about other Black teachers, but when a class after class would say this teacher's a racist, and then you'd get to know that person individually. The kids were right because, you don't have that individual psychology. So I kind of really relaxed into it on that level. And I just figure I come from who I am. I was lucky to have all that background and stuff like that. I was lucky to realize that, yes, we do notice that somebody has red hair or Black hair or what color skin or whatever, because it's part of them, not we're all the same. Why don't I not notice? And so those things have really helped me in so many ways. And I talk about it because it was a wisdom provided for me. Do you know what I mean? It was the opportunity in teaching there and knowing all these people. So whatever you say, Robert, is going to be felt. There are no right words. However you say it is going to be right for who's hearing it, or look at all the teachers. Everybody says things differently here, and all points of views vary. And so, everybody kind of goes, yeah, this works for me. And I would think maybe the Buddhist thing, the healthy thing is to say, yeah, this works for me. It has nothing to do with that teacher. It's where it resonates for me, where I learn. So
Thank you, Eileen.
you're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
No, I'll stay. I'm already exposed.
You are. Well, it's 8:30, folks. I must head off to Wink's Hardware. Want to get that creature up when you come, you say, I'm going to create a slideshow of BMC also, but it's this beautiful carving that was from a temple in Bali that Ruth Dennison had over the door to her home in Hollywood in the 50s. So it's an antique, pirated from somewhere in Bali, I suppose one would say. But it's quite something. We'll walk under it into the Dharma Hall. So, shall we sing our way home? May all beings receive all blessings. So please unmute so we can have our joyous cacophony. Bhavatu sabe mangalam. Bhavatu sabe mangalam. Bhavatu sabe mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, thank you, friends. Thanks for coming and being together like this.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Sangha.
Have a safe, Have a safe, mindful day.
Thank you.
Be well, everyone.
Have a good time in Atlin, Jilly. When do you leave?
We're actually in Atlin.
Oh, you're in Atlin now? Oh, there's Wi-Fi.
It turns out there's Wi-Fi.
I see.
Our friend left it on all winter by mistake, so we're enjoying it.
Oh, is there snow? There must be snow.
Oh yeah, there's snow, and the full moon is just set behind the courthouse.
Oh,
We're in
wow.
a little cabin.
Oh, look at that! Wow,
You can't see the moon, but you can see the mountains in the distance across the lake there.
Yeah,
over the house.
That's an island, right, across the lake?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I remember the story of Gernot skiing around it with the wolves chasing him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is he is he still around? Is he still alive?
No, he's living in Pemberton, north of Whistler.
Oh, how interesting! Huh?
Yeah, I know.
Whatever became of the art school?
Well, it's no longer an art school. It's privately owned.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some nice retreats there.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a good day.
Thank you.
Enjoy being impermanent.
Hello, Bruce. I saw you off to the side there briefly.
I know he's got a migraine.
Oh shit!
I turned the camera off of him.
No, don't. Oh, that sucks. Are you familiar with my pain meditation? Pain release?
Yeah, I've listened to it a couple of times.
Yeah. It's not magic.
No, I'll listen to it again.
All right. Take care. May that be very brief for you today.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye, everybody. Goodbye, Jim. Thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye, PIMC.
Have a good day, everybody.